Oh boy, 3.5 more hours of Godzilla.
I almost fell asleep.
Yeah, it was great. I was sitting here watching it by myself, essentially.
Yeah, because I was dying. Not a good time.
Because you decided to come over late.
Not that late. And you should be glad I did. For reasons that don't need to be stated on a mic.
Oh, okay.
So.
Anyway, 10 more episodes down.
Yeah, there was a wedding. It was dumb. Redhead lady hates her sister. Something like that.
Yeah, her sister's getting married. Her parents are like, well, why don't you get married? And then there's like, oh jeez, what was it? It was something attracted to cold.
Yeah, is that the thing that froze people?
Yeah, it was like a manta ray kind of deal.
Yeah, it was cause.
And Godzilla and it shoot fire and ice beams at each other. They cause a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And it's all very dumb.
Incredibly.
And then Godzilla just sucks it down with a whirlpool.
Oh, yeah.
Killing it forever.
Incredible. Juggernaut.
So an asteroid or a meteor or a tiny rock from space crash lands in the park. Kid decides, hey, I'm gonna ram it with my RC car, and then the rock's like, I don't like that. Then he becomes the RC car.
Yeah.
Then he takes over a hot dog vendor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just starts grabbing everything in town.
Yeah, he's got like a fridge and freezer combo, and he's able to shoot like ice stuff out, which makes no fucking sense. And then it sucks up. The next time we see it, it's this giant awful ball of bullshit with like a crane arm. And then it sucks up Craven.
And nothing of value was lost.
You're not wrong. But then we find out that it's basically Judgment Day. This thing is going to fire a nuke at Baghdad. And that's going to cause everyone else to freak out and launch nukes at each other. And basically end the world. And it's like, but not for the machines. And I'm like, are we fucking doing Terminator? Are you serious? And so Craven and I always forget his name. Randy, they work together to stop the thing. Basically, they shoot it up with the nuke in space.
They can't stop the launch, but they can change the coordinates, and the coordinates were space.
Yes, and then it blew up. And it was funny because like in space, no one can hear you blow up, and then it fires off into space, and we hear the explosion, and I'm like, that's dumb.
Well, par for the course.
Okay, so what was Shafted?
Shafted is the one where they go to the mine shaft.
Oh.
And there's the Quicksilver Beast.
Yeah, the weird beetle, what I thought was a beetle and just turned out to be like a doofy Power Hour monster that shoots out silver goo.
Yeah, and so if it shoots you with the goo just kind of like turns you into silver. It just continually grows on you, turning you into a statue.
And what was even better is that if you cut it apart, it turns into several smaller ones
that can reforge.
And there were just so many of them, and they looked like shit, and I just had to give them some background music. But unfortunately, they reformed into a giant one before I could really get to a point where I thought it would be funny.
Anyway, it was weak to cold water because it was woken up by warm water. So they cut a hole in the shaft. And also there's like a trio of kids, students, or siblings.
Yes.
And they don't matter.
Even though they're the crux of everything.
No, they're not. They don't matter. Anyway, monster gets dissolved in cold water. Godzilla just mounts himself on top of a mountain, and the episode ends.
Well, and then there's an exchange of a stupid necklace.
Yeah, the Chekhov's medal.
Yep. It's something about martial arts and shit. And
something about being brave, or I don't know. It was dumb.
It was very dumb.
I think I said something about it at the very beginning. As soon as they showed the medal, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be the handoff at the end.
Fucking dumb. Either way, trust no one.
So, Ditto appears.
Oh, God.
And it pretends to be a dog for a while. And then it runs into a snake, and so now it can turn into a snake. And you said this was basically just the thing.
Yeah, or it's like everyone's distrusting each other, and they're trying to figure out who's the thing, because anyone could be the thing. And yeah, it just plays off of that. But the nice part is that you're not automatically dead if you become the thing. So
yeah, it can just kind of like grab your sweat and it's like, well, I'm you now.
and
Weird.
And it wants to fucking link up with its other half, and so it can breed. But instead of breeding, it just gets really, really big and becomes a Godzilla.
First, it becomes a fish.
And then it becomes a snake.
And then it becomes a Godzilla. And then they just hit it with this anti-cellular thing.
Yeah, and it just melts it. And it's a good time.
And then it becomes a giant two-headed lady. And then Godzilla burns it alive.
Yep. Good times.
And then we get to our first unaired episode.
Lizard season?
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Yeah. No, Lizard season happened with Gundams and Zoids.
Oh, God damn it.
So, Handsome McRich brings back the King of the Hill cast.
Yes.
Equips them with Zoids and says, go kill Godzilla. It doesn't work.
At all. Ever.
And, so, King of the Hill gets arrested again. Mm-hmm. And Handsome McRich escapes.
Yep.
As he does. And then we get to the first unaired episode.
Which is about the Bayou
and the mystical Bayou Bum.
And his praying mantis back poop shooting gross thing.
So basically there's this rich guy who's taking advantage of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And mystical Bayou Bum doesn't like that. So he summons his Godzilla, essentially.
Yep.
And he wreaks havoc on all of the rich guy's places, like his cannery, his boat.
Yep.
And then his house.
Yes.
And then he's like, well, I guess justice is required, but not violence. And he learns a lesson, then he just fades off into the ether.
Yep. It's great.
And the rich guy gets 5 to 10 years. And that's basically all that happens in that one.
Yep. Ring of Fire opens up on they're drilling for oil. And then for some reason fire starts to shoot out, and they're like, we shouldn't have hit oil yet. And then this thing comes out, and there's this giant fireball, and it's got like a face on it, and I got real excited for a bit until the bug showed up, and I went, fuck, it's just gonna be a bug.
And then it was just a big bug.
But when it got really fiery, it did have like the face and whatnot, and that was kind of cool. But I always had to remember that it was this stupid lame bug.
Yeah.
And they defeat it. And
they defeat it by, throwing it in the water and getting it away from oil where it can't feed.
But then Craven's like, we could fucking new energy sources and whatnot and make some good money. And so he goes and grabs the body. Well, in the process of trying to figure it out, he finds out that it bleeds methane, which causes it to reignite, which also causes it to come back to life.
And so they fight it again, except this time in an oil refinery kind of deal.
Yeah.
And they... Oh, jeez, what did they do? They blow up Nigel? They just fill him with
nitroglycerin.
And they're just like, well...
Big enough explosion would take out all the oxygen and suffocate it, which is correct.
And then they put it in a capsule, and they dropped it in the middle of the ocean.
And it immediately gets broken open by a fucking shark.
Yeah, it was great.
Really dumb. Good thing it was on air, so it doesn't count.
No, Ring of Fire was aired.
Damn it.
It was the Bayou one that wasn't.
Whatever. Okay, Protector.
Ah, jeez, I just looked. This is the one with the Sphinx.
Oh, God.
The oil Sphinx.
Yes,
It's a big old
flying lion.
Yeah, and it might be a machine. It might be related to the desert beast from Power Hour.
Yeah, it's debatable, but it's this giant iron lion thing that drinks oil
With its paws.
Yes, just puts his paw down and
Sucks it up like a straw.
it's gross. And so they're like, oh, they must have rusted it in order to defeat it. We'll have to rust it too. And so they cover it in this stuff that's supposed to make it rust faster. They fight it in a salt mine, and then they knock it into the water, and it just immediately oxidizes.
Well, it climbs onto a boat, and then...
Yes.
Yeah. New statue.
Cool stuff.
Easy as hell to solve, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, then we get to Vision with the giant fucking stupid hummingbirds.
Oh, God.
They flap their wings at such a frequency they reflect light.
Yep. You have to be going at a certain speed in order to be able to see them.
So what they do to defeat them is they put high fashion goggles on Godzilla.
Oh my God. Godzilla in goggles is great.
It's dumb as hell, and then he just, with ease, defeats like 20 hummingbirds.
Blasts them out of the sky.
Also, Randy looks at Kraven's emails, thinks he's dying, and he spends the episode being nice to him.
Being super nice. And then Kraven's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm sorry, buddy. I heard that you're dying. He's like, no, that has to do with my mummy. And Randy's like, the fuck are you talking about? And Kraven's like, don't worry about it. I'm not dying. And then Randy's like, well, alright, well, you want to, like, grab a burger later? And I'm like, good. Learned a good lesson. I'm down for that.
And then they immediately forgot it in the next episode.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know.
I don't even remember.
Anyway, there's a man who's got a mutant menagerie.
Yeah, and he just put a bounty on Godzilla's head. So a bunch of jackasses show up, and they fire a giant net at him, and they're shooting a trank gun, which is the exact same trank gun that he uses, which is weird. Meanwhile, some guy, like, I think he had like a crane or something.
I don't know. I don't remember no guy with cranes.
It was a weird, high-powered machine, and Nick knocks him out of it, and Godzilla gets out, and so they go to visit the circus, and they're like, this is dumb, you're an asshole.
Hey, check out my squid! And it's this awful thing. It's muck.
It dissolves and leaks out of the cage, and then starts sucking the water out of people, to the point where they should be dead.
It's fine. They get a cup of water and they're like, Johnny on the spot.
Clearly.
So basically, this disgusting squid creature thing is looking for water. And basically they dehydrated it a couple times and they're like, oh, well, electricity will make it stay in liquid form. So, and then fire will also do that. So it gets into the in the bay or the water or wherever it is.
Uh-huh.
And they burn it. It's now gross and liquidy.
Yeah.
And they suck it up with this thing that's designed to suck up oil spills. And they load it on a truck. And then, lo and behold, it was the circus ringleader trying to drive off with it.
Yep.
And then he gets arrested, and I don't remember what they did with the things. I think they just kind of waved that one away.
Yep.
And that was this session. A session of good times, as you can hear from Phil. Really,
like...
really invigorating.
Yeah. The only good part really was Juggernaut, which was the second fucking episode. And then there were parts of Shafted that were funny because of the weird beetles and shooting the goo on people. And then the Goggles, which was the second to last episode.
I mean, I had a good time with the Mystical Bayou Bum.
Okay, the Mystical Bayou Bum was funny.
Because they look over at him,
and
then they turn around, and then they look back, and he's just gone.
Yeah, no, it happens multiple times.
Just doesn't exist in real life.
He's a magic man.
It was great. Anyway, we've got 10 episodes to go, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
See ya.